All right. And then this is the upgrade. So if you wanted to do the Cosmic Prosperity Strategy work with me on a one-on-one basis, so we're going by yourself, you get to look at your information with me, you get to look at what that looks like in your prosperity cycle, how it's activating in your life, maybe noticing what shadows there may be or whatever's been coming up for you around that area. And so that is that beginning part of that, right? And then as we go, we start to understand more. We understand the Cosmic Prosperity course goes through a section of the Gene Keys where we talk about what our wounds are regarding prosperity, and then how are we holding space for our gifts of sharing in our prosperity, how we're showing up and being seen as valuable for our prosperity, right? So these are the different components of the Cosmic Prosperity Strategy. And then we have voice and we have movement to, again, get moving and integrated, feeling good before you go into the action pieces, which there are little action steps for that are specialized for specific lines. So if those who know about lines, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each of those four have 6 line actions that you can take. What's really cool is if you have a big business and you have a full team, then you can probably go ahead and assign out all of those lines because they're all great. They're all great things to have in a business. So if you take action and all of them, I'm pretty sure that you'll have a nice, well-rounded business that will be able to stand for itself in the market. In other words, make money. Yeah. So that's what we want. That's part of why we're going into business, is to be valued for what we're doing. And if we haven't recognized that, we're still learning it. That's okay. That's okay. This is just a reminder that it takes, you know, a kind of understanding awareness of what is happening, what isn't working when we are going into this work, because we don't realize how much our voice is affecting. And what people understand a little bit more is chakras, and that's essentially how we're bringing that energy in, what's working for us in that regard, right? And so what I want you to know is that there's a lot of different ways the throat chakra isn't showing up for you. You're not feeling seen and heard. It's hard to make your desires a priority. You're not being able to speak up exactly how and represent yourself the way you want to be represented in the world. You're freezing before you are speaking or showing up. You're not confident in what you believe is true. If you know and you believe it's true on the inside, then you would be able to speak to it. If we're not being triggered by old trauma, if we're not having perspectives from the world that are saying that we are thinking the wrong way, and we haven't changed that belief or message in our own integration, our own body, mind, spirit, that's what comes up. And so this work is really about being in that integrity and calling integrity in so that we can have the feeling of integrity, which is confidence, right? Like I know that I know, which is not that I know I'm the best speaker ever. I know that I have something powerful to share. Like, who cares if I'm the best speaker ever if I'm not sharing something that's going to change people's lives? I'm more interested in changing people's lives, right? And so that's what this work is about. That's what this work is about. So if you want to ask me any questions regarding that, I'm always available. Not always, not really always. Don't believe that. That's a lie. I'm not always available, but I do make myself available to be able to answer any questions that you have. And then for you to go ahead and schedule, like if you want to go ahead and schedule your first session, I believe we have, I mean, at minimum, next week is available, but we should have like Friday should still be available, most of Friday, and then Sunday, and then next week. Okay. So yay. So I hope you come play with me and Vocal Creatrix. It's really fun, y'all. I promise. I promise. Well, if you like me here, you'll love my classes. I get such great insights for the group. I tend to, that's how information kind of comes in for me, is through the groups, through the energy in the room. And that's really what I'm hoping to teach others too, is how to be able to be in real time present with the energy in the room, with the people that may not see it for 10 years. They may not even like when I do live videos and I do recordings, I try not to think about everybody that has the potential to see it because that would make me super nervous, right? But what I do know is that as long as that recording is on, is there's a long as many of those people are bringing their energy into the space, and then I get to respond to that, and that's what I'm here for. So we talked about that a little bit yesterday. Okay, so we're gonna get into the material, girl. Um, just ignore that I just did that. Nobody needs to know. Okay. Nobody needs to know. I'm trying to see. Oh, good, good. I saw your comment, Deb. I was looking at the website there for a second, so I didn't see your response. All right, but I wanted to show that to you guys. Oh yeah, the for the one-on-one sessions for Cosmic Prosperity are at a discounted rate. Normally, my sessions for astrology are $250. So I've made it a discount to be able to get the private sessions and the course all for the package price of $797. If you just want the course by itself, you'll still get your bonuses, and that's $197. Okay, guys? And I should probably write that down somewhere. But it is in on the website, and yeah, so those prices are on the website, so it's clear there. Okay, okay. So yeah, so we're doing things to make us understand abracadabra that you can create your life as you speak it. And we are also being honed into our energy that motivates, that gets us to show up, that gets us to do things, right? And that energy actually helps us to understand what choices to make as well, what is aligned to what we really want in this present moment and according to our purpose, right? And so when we get attuned to that energy, we're familiar and we're in integrity with it, and we feel good when we are in it. We get to feel that amplification of energy that happens in the work that I love. Amon's method is just everything, folks. Um, then you get to party with that energy, and like it can ride with you while you're making those choices. What am I going to do next? What am I going to learn next? What am I going to do for my potential future clients next? What am I going to create next? Am I going to make a pretty picture? Am I going to make a pretty song? What does it look like for you? Right? And so you want to be able to tune into instead of just being fogginess and confusion all the time. Right? um, the more we do work, so that first step by itself will get you closer to a tune and toning of a vague. Oh, 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 we had a little glitch in the YouTube system. So that vagus nerve toning that happens from the beginning of that work. The Oman's method first step, if anybody knows what it is, creatrix, but also a vocal alchemist. So if you want to know anything about horse, you can ask her. Um, she's a great friend of me, and of course, she's shared it with so many people with, just out of the goodness of her heart and how much she has loved it. So I appreciate that greatly. And again, that's the kind of community that I hope you get to experience as well. This next part, folks, is a writer. So, have you ever heard of a writer? That's my question, first of all. This is a gracious diva. So, be learning from divas. That is part of what we're doing here, is learning from the divas. The website to come up. I should have definitely closed these tabs. But yeah, we're both writers. So, what a writer is when you make a contract to show up for a concert. I picked the exact right time to come through, guys. Every day we're going to be here at ice cream truck. Okay. So and it's so fun because they have a website where you can see kind of actual artists, Dell, their writers, what they look like. And I wanted you to look at this right as taking some time and actually happening. But I'm sharing. Here we go. Now I got better buttons. I'm going to do it again. All right. So, and right up here, oops, it's moving. All right at the top here, it's talking about traveling parties. So what you know from the beginning, a writer is essentially what they have on top of the contract. So the contract is about when am I coming, what's the facility, what are there going to be the rooms, what time am I being there, what are my mic, but it's like how much am I getting paid, and are including like hotel, lodging, travel, all that kind of thing is in the contract. The writer is what is going to be available backstage in order for the performance to happen on time. And this has been clarified over the ages, because what people don't realize, a lot of the writer is also about just safety. So one of the reasons why people started making crazy requests on the writer is because the management companies weren't reading them, or maybe the management companies were, but the facilities where they're the venues, the people that were setting up the space, right, weren't reading what they needed. And so it was causing like people not to have the right equipment and causing electric problems, not having good sound, and then electric problems can also be dangerous. Like people can get hurt, right? And so that's what writers are really for. But it's also for the singer or performer to have everything they need to feel at their best so they can have their best performance. It's what they feel they need backstage that must be there in order for that to happen. Well, you'll notice that this is a lot of stuff here, right? Like there's like 4 bottles, 2 bottles, 3 liters, 2 bags, right? This is a huge. So even if your band is like 5 people, that's still a lot of food, right? Who needs that much food? Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because what you'll notice is this is not just about the person at the front. Now we got into the PA system part, right? How they need the stage set up for what performances are going to happen or what did happen, right, with electronics. So this is, again, it's a matter of having the performance be at its best, that we are requiring certain things to get done. This is where I want your mindset to be as a gracious diva, okay? Now, you also notice that there's so much, right? There's so much food. Why is there so much food? Well, for how long they're going to be there, they might have to be there for hours and hours. They might be hungry people. That could be it. But more than that, it's also because that they're not just taking care of their band. I mean, that's what the contract is for, but they're not just taking care of their band. They're taking care of their entourage. They're taking care of the people that are there to support them, and having plenty for the band as well, right? So that the band can perform at the best of their ability, because if the instrumentalists for the singer aren't performing at the best of their ability, then the singer can't perform at the best of their ability, right? So as a soloist, taking care of your band, your group that is doing the work for you, that's, if you look good, it's because they are looking good, right? Or vice versa. I don't know, they're looking good because, I don't know, vice versa. I think it works both ways actually. But truly, if they're doing their job right, it's going to make you look good. That's your band, right? Your entourage is just there, whether you're good or bad. They're going to be like, you're still a bum, man. Like, don't worry, it's just one concert, man. Like, they're going to be the people that keep you from like jumping the bridge, right? That's what you want. Like, you have to take care of them too. So when we're asking for more, for our vision, for our event, for our performance, for our service, we are allowing more to come in for the people that are part of that experience, that are helping us be there, that are being our support when we aren't feeling good. They're gonna help us stay feeling okay, gonna remind us to do our Oman's practice. They're gonna be like, did you do your Oman's practice today? You look a little cranky, right? when you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I did forget. Let me go do that real quick. And overall, you're going to feel better for yourself and for what you get done and share with those people in the audience. And that's what we want. It's the same thing in our business, right? Our business, we have our team. We might not have a year-long team, but we bring them in for certain points. We want to make sure that throughout the year, we're making sure that we're being covered for that. There's mistakes that I've made in that, and I wish I had done differently before because I was thinking, okay, well, I don't want to ask for too much because I don't want to, put stress on the person I'm asking it for. But the truth is that if I really was going to take care of my team at the optimal level, that I would have asked for more. Okay. And it's just part of the process. We got to make our baby steps. So if we're not there yet, just know that it's a way that we can grow in a way that we are being the gracious diva, that we are not just thinking of ourselves and like how much we're worth. We're also thinking of our team, our future team, our our supporters and our future entourage, right? We are going to make something that's strong enough and lasts and is hardy enough that it can take care of the whole, right? That's the goal. That's the dream. I'm not saying that I'm there yet, but that's the dream, right? And that's what I am manifesting. So from now already, I'm taking that stance because that's what I am also integrating into my reality, exactly what we're doing here in that vocal creatrix work, right? So that is the thing I want you to take away from that diva writer, that possibility. My one of my favorite diva stories, I believe it was, who was it? It was, I don't think it was Diana Ross. I don't think it was Aretha Franklin either. There's one of the other major divas, major diva. She used to ask for on her writer would include $8,000 cash in hand when she walked into the door, not walked into the green room, walked into the door of the facility, right? Like somebody had to be standing there waiting for her and hand her actual envelope of cash. Like that was on her writer. And I think people would be like, who does that? Like she's getting paid 10 times that. Who cares? Like, who cares if they hand her that envelope or not? I can only imagine that comes from maybe a trauma history of having shown up to concerts, performed, and not getting paid, right? Because people didn't honor their contracts. Or maybe they were supposed to sign the contract when they get there. This is before internet, y'all. So maybe they just didn't have it ready right away, right? So all of those things. And she was like, you know what? At my best, I know that you are respecting me, that you've honored my contract, you've read the writer, that I know that you have honored my contract when you hand me that $8,000 when I walk in the door. I will feel like the diva that is honored, respected, and can be at her full game, not worried about whether I'm getting paid or not, or whether my contract was and my riders were taken care of, because you are going to give me that symbol when I walk in the door, right? And like some people would be like, oh, that's just greedy. No, 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 I'm sure it's more than that, because who wants to keep track of $8,000 all night, right? Like I'm sure it's more than that. Like it's something more than just what we have on the surface. And so when we're asking for these little things, because little things are more important for us than others, right? For me, I really like having my water available. I really like having my space, my lighting. I don't not like, because I just in the wrong colors. I can even see, like if you look on the YouTube video, I have the green screen in the background. In the wrong colors, I look weird. I'm sorry, I just feel that way. I just do. Right? And so I want the right colors so I can feel good about my appearance when I'm online. So I'm not like, ooh, I look a little sallow today, right? And so it's just the little things that help us be at our best. And when we know what those little things are, no matter how random and how incidental they may appear to others, we are taking care of our voice and our vision. And that's the goal. That is the goal. Yay, yay, yay. So you have your charts, you have your charts. Dia. Did you look to see if on your chart you have gate or gene key 26? That's my first question for you. We're going to look for a few of these gates, and as we go through them, I'm going to explain a little bit about those components of how we're going to amplify our voice in these ways. So the first one that we just went through is knowing what it takes, knowing what you want, what feels supportive of our vision and our voice and the people that are carrying the vision or voice, whether they have shown up yet or not. Right? Current and future. So we are always holding the vision. So we're always holding what the possibilities are, even for the team that comes with us, our friends that come with us, right? So that is a big point that I want to make sure y'all are catching. And a little bit longer to see if you can find gate 26 in the chart. So that's again our mastery number, that gate 26. And when I say mastery, I mean the mastery of being a gracious diva. So that 26, let's see how it shores up in the chart. I think it takes a little longer, huh? When you're on the Zoom, it's just like, oh, wait for you to hurry up and get my page. That's all I want to. I'm gonna close this one. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So that's the shadow of pride, the gift of artfulness, and the city of invisibility. What's so cool about this is that basically that we are identified by our egos as pride. And so a lot of people think being a diva is about having an ego, right? But what it really is being discerning about what is art to us. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? That we are making space for our art. We're understanding and being clear on what our art is, our service, what we are making for the world. That's why I'm calling it art. And a lot of y'all may not consider yourself artists, but I do. I consider yourself an artist. Anybody that's creating something from an idea is an artist. So I think entrepreneurs are artists, right? I think even the like product builders, like in people that are engineering things that make our lives easier, I think they're artistic. They're creating something from an idea. And that's all art is, right? And so in that gift, it's about the heart being expressed clearly, right? So clearly that there's no artifice, right? There's no pretending about what the truth of that art is. It is just purely out of the creative mind, right? So it's so pure that is all light. And then in the city, everything is light and it becomes the great cinnabar field, is what Richard Rudd calls it. It becomes the land of invisibility where everybody is so unified in that light that no one is separate in that truth, right? It's beautiful, 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 beautiful Sagittarius energy, which is so prime for today. Today is not the 26 energy, it's actually the 34, but for our full moon in Sagittarius today. But it is Sagittarius, so it has a little bit of that expansive where more comes from, right? And more comes from our creative ideas being coming into fruition, artfulness, okay? And today in the full moon, we're talking about strength, which is another thing. We're talking about not forcing what we want. No diva is forcing, right? We're graciously inviting people to be part of excellence. Like this is what the posture is, right? Graciously inviting people to be part of our excellence, our ideas, our possibilities, our expansiveness, our manifestation, our beauty, whatever we're creating that we know is of love, we can call it beautiful. You don't need other people to verify that. We don't need a committee to verify that, right? That's the beauty of art. The art is in the eye of the beholder. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if it's beautiful to you, then the beauty, the next funnest part is just seeing the person that it's also beautiful to. And then like being in awe. Like the people that find my work beautiful, I'm in awe. I'm just like, I feel really good about myself that Deb likes my work. I feel really good about myself that Lou likes my work. I feel really good about myself that Susie likes my work. Like it makes me feel so good because I like them. I don't just like think they're smart or think they're successful or think they have enough money to appreciate their success. Like that's not why that makes me happy. That makes me happy because these are good people. They are heart-centered people. They are people that have beautiful voices to share with the world and beautiful visions of that can heal the world. And of course I'm honored, right? Like that's where we want to be. That's that stance of diva because yeah, like I think it's beautiful and that you recognize that beauty and I recognize the beauty in you. Happy days, right? We can get high on that for days. Happy days for true forever. All right, so that's the first one I want you to look for. Why I want you to look for in your chart is because as I'm sorry, let me pull up the right version of this. As the 2640 full, it is, yes, off of the will center and going to the spleen. So again, this area, this channel, when it comes together, is about being able to create something out of your effort, your desire, your will. Okay, so it's not really any of those. It's actually your will. It's your heart's will. And not all of us, right? All of us have this in our chart. As far as the human design chart, we don't have this gate. We don't all have it. So what does it mean to your chart? Is it something you long for, this willingness to be able to enact what your heart desires, this will, right? Is it something that you have and then you're just trying to not push past what is safe, right? You've maybe had some trauma experience about pushing your will past what is safe in a space, right? Being able to read and be aware of the space is vital in that regard. So if that's the case, then we want to again hone our awareness of our bodies, our energies, and our space and our signature vibrational space. Like because once we have that honed, then less mess gets to live in our space. And that's where we want to get to. Okay. So yay, yay, yay. So that's the first one. Let's do the next one is 45. Let's pull up 45 as that's coming up. Oh, after the writer. Oh. Okay. I did want to cover a couple things. As we pull up that 45, look for a 45 in your chart. I know for some of us it takes a little longer. So we're just looking for it if it's in your gene key chart or your human design chart, whatever you're looking at. And then see if it's there. And then we'll talk about that in a little bit. In the meantime, I want to tell you where we're making the mistakes of mistaking our strengths as weaknesses. Right? I know it's kind of confusing because maybe I should have said it backward, the other way around. Like we think that our weaknesses can't be strong or they aren't strong. And we're basically taking our strengths as weaknesses, and a lot of times this is because again of the opinions of the people around us as we're growing up in our culture. We were talking about yesterday about how a lot of people feel that way about introverts. They feel that introverts aren't as cool or as successful as extroverts, and so it became a little taboo in U.S. America, this United States. They became a little bit taboo to say that you're introverted, or to call somebody introverted was almost an insult, right? Like this was weird, but this was happening for decades for those who didn't know, like who are part of a younger demographic. This has been happening since I was a kid, right? And so knowing that I was an honest God introvert, it never occurred to me to think of it as a strength until I got older and started making my own definitions of who I am and what that means, what that means to me, and what I know that can mean for others, right? And so, introvert, what I know that allows me to do is I have no problems going doing the deep dives. I have no problems reading 5 and 6 books to get an answer that's cumulative and aware and within my own perspective, because now I get to integrate it with my own experiences, ideas, possibilities, and the experiences of my clients, right? That's a superpower. Not all extroverts, I'm not saying none of them do, but not all extroverts want to sit down and be in a space that long to do that much research. Like nobody wants to read that much. Most of America isn't reading that much, right? Like I would say, in the United States. What do you think? Maybe the rest of the world is reading, but I don't know about us. Anyways, I consider that one of my major strengths. There's 1,000 other reasons why I think introvert, being highly sensitive, which is not the same thing. Those are two different things. Highly sensitive people can also be extroverts. And yeah, but those being highly sensitive, being emotional, why there are strengths. Overly emotional, let's take that one, right? Emotions are our ability to track discrepancies in energy. Like they're literally, if you listen to some of our extreme experts in the world, they're literally GPS energy detectors. They're telling you where you are in relationship to the energy that is higher, right? And so bad feelings or being emotional, like crying when you're happy, is actually that's an estimation of like being able to track how much joy you can experience in big leaps, right? Which means you're fully feeling the lows as well. Like you're not being absent to those lows. The more you're not absent during the lows, the more you see the difference, the shift of that how far you've gone in that travel, and now you have higher heights. If you had caught my videos maybe 3 years ago, probably even less than that, you could probably look at last year's video and see the difference of my energy and how much happier I get, how much more I get. I'm laughing not just spastically when I can't help but laugh, but just enjoy about what's happening in real time. And it's a lot less weird. I mean, it's still kind of weird. I laugh a lot to myself in my own room, but that's okay. I think that's funny too. So yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I can appreciate that and really be tickled. And when I used to be just so nervous, I was just trying to get through everything so I could say I did it. Right. And not being clear enough to even track where I am or that I missed something. Like I wouldn't have been able to even see that I had missed this section before. I would have just gone through everything and then got to the end and be like, oh, I must have missed that section. Right. So it's just like the development of being able to track with awareness and in big movements of energy and still stay centered and still stay present to who we are without having somebody else need to be different for us to be who we are, right? No matter how mean that person is, I'm going to be who I am. That's where I want us to get to. That's the work of the vocal creatrix. That's where they're getting to. I get to create my life. So that means that no meanings get to create my life. I get to create my life regardless of the meanings. Okay. All right. 45. Did you find it? Did you find it? Other things that we consider weaknesses, being a person of color, being from an indigenous background, right? Those kind of things, because traditionally we've considered lower class, this kind of nonsense. Anybody who's been considered a marginalized race in that regard, or community or demographic. So again, like women in general tend to fall into this just because we're used to not be seen, like immediately getting docked points because you don't have certain equipment, which is just silly. But we know that now, but again, decades ago, we didn't. And so we still have that programming that we get to heal, retrain, integrate a new habit of being and pattern around, right? That I'm an introvert means that I'm a loner. Like that's something that I had that definition in my head, right? A loner. And I used to think I was really weirdly proud of being a loner because I knew plenty of people that could not be alone and satisfied, right? And so I was like, well, I'd rather be this version than the person that can't be with themselves, right? Like, but that's a judgment. That's a judgment against somebody who needs people to thrive and to be all of who they are. That's just some people are built that way. If you know about the charts, there's energies for that. And so if I'm just judging it, like, it must be a bad thing to need people, right? That's my own personal problem. But that is exactly that thought process as to why I would feel affronted if somebody called me a loner or an introvert in a bad way, right? Like I didn't mind introvert if you also knew how cool being an introvert was. That if you were calling me an introvert and you thought that's a bad thing, like I would be offended. Now I'm just like, well, okay, they're just of the perspective that doesn't understand that there is no bad about that, right? I don't really feel any kind of way about it. I'm not triggered by that, right? Where I used to be. I used to be. So how did I shift that? Is I thought differently about what that meant. That's essentially what we're doing with the word diva in this work. We're learning how to think of being a diva differently. Because when we start judging people in these things, what we do is we keep ourselves from the energy that is available on the positive and on the negative. Yeah, you may never be like the infamous diva energy that's selfish and like only wants to be seen and never wants to show or shine on others or share that love, right? And you could be in that infamous diva energy, and this is why people think that being a diva is a bad thing. Same thing, like people think that being an introvert's a bad thing. Well, introverts are loners and they can't speak up for themselves and they don't, like these are the labels that get put along with that. But if we're like, okay, I'm fine with being an introvert, yeah, sometimes I don't feel like speaking, so I may not speak up for myself. I may just go read another book, right? Like rather than deal with your whatever ignorance, non lack of perspective, right? So whatever that may be. But it's now a good, it's like you can't fault me for what I am. I am who I am, and I love that about myself. And if I don't, then I will figure out why. I will find that definition that's not allowing me to love myself in the truth or non-truth of that. Because if it's not true, then I don't feel anything, right? If you think that being an introvert's bad and you're like, oh, you're an introvert, I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Do you not know how cool it is to be an introvert? Let me explain it to you, right? That's the feeling that we get when we have fully integrated human structures, right? So the other thing that a gracious diva is doing in this, and this is coming out of the 45, y'all. If you haven't pulled it up yet, go ahead and get that up and ready to go. So the shadow here is dominance, the gift is synergy, and the city is communion. So again, like in that 45 and that 45, it just wants to take over to make sure everybody has everything now, right? And the more that I'm in control, the more I can make sure it happens the right way. Does anybody know this kind of a diva? Great leaders getting it done for their community, but again, with this habit of force instead of just being in your strength and letting that present as true. Like I'm strong, that introverts are cool. Like I am not confused about that. So I can help you be more clear because I'm already strong about that instead of feeling like I have to force to make you understand. You need to know that introverts are the best thing that ever happened. You see how this happens in like religion and you know what I'm saying? This is just judgments. This is what we were taught to believe or we have taken on the belief of in order to preserve our what we thought was our life. You know, this is what ends up happening. This is what people, stand up for pastors and people that aren't in integrity as if it's their own life, because they're like, well, if I have to admit I made this bad choice, then I have to admit that I'm making bad choices, and then I'm making that mean that I am bad. Instead of just owning the fact that, okay, yeah, I'm a human that's made a bad choice, that doesn't make me bad, right? And then I get to choose differently now that I know better, and just being able to release that. Like, you only have to fight for things that you haven't accepted about humanity and therefore yourself, right? And this is stuff we're all working on. There's plenty of places where this is true for me that I'm still working on it, right? So this is like a growing effort. And this gift of synergy, it's like, instead of using those energy pools that you're recognizing how people are connected to exert authority over them, you are you're witnessing those energy connections as a way to bring people together. That's the gift of that, right? And so, yeah, so that doesn't mean the absence of dominance. It means that you still know how to orchestrate energy patterns so that synergy can happen. And that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. So if you have that in your chart, that's something that's just a strength for you. It happens naturally. If you have one of those, like, so if you are, let's see where this is physically on the chart. So this is coming from our throat chakra. So it's coming from our throat chakra to the emotional center. Oh, wait, let me make sure I'm not making that up. I am making that up, sorry. That is going to the will center as well. So this is also going to the will center. So I know I probably have to double check this. I don't think I have to double check this. But yeah, like the 45 is that what allows the community to eat, essentially, is how that channel works. It's like telling truth to power about what is needed for there to be enough resources. Okay, that's the leadership archetype that is important in order for there to be enough resources. This is what we were just talking about with the writers. There are enough resources for the team, for the entourage, for the audience. There's enough space. There's enough seats in the house for everybody that wants to come, right? This is just being able to track how the energy wants to come together in order for service to be in action, that synergy of action and service, okay? So yay, so that's cool. So these are little elements. If it's not in your chart already, it just means you get to learn about them and decide, when that energy comes through, because this energy comes through every year. I think, yeah, so every year, they're gonna, at least once, gonna see a 45, right? It may not be a highlighted time, it may not be a full moon or new moon, but you're gonna see it once a year. So what a lot of people will do is they'll track the moon cycle when the moon hits that, because I think that's within 3 months or so. And then, or they'll track the sun cycle, and they'll just kind of tune in when we have our energy awareness. If we're doing the vocal creatrix work, then you have more intuition awareness. And so you can tell that you're feeling a little differently based on the environment that is impressing on you. And we start to be able to tell the difference between whether that's the sun energy, whether that's the moon energy. You can do it too. It's not something special people do. It's just a level of awareness that we cultivate, right? So when we do that and we see the energy of 45 coming through, we're like, I see how that people in the world are acting in this energy. Maybe it's a shadow energy. Or I see that there's a potential that somebody is acting in this energy over here. And it's just a magnificent representation of this gift of synergy, right? And so when we are able to witness it, spot it, we can either align to it or not align to it. If we see that shadow energy and be like, I don't know if I want that. I don't know. Is that the dominant? They're dominantly in their shadow, or are they even attempting to move into the gift? Maybe I'm not aligned if they aren't at least in desire to be in the gift, right? Maybe they just don't know that yet. Again, they haven't gained that perspective, education, knowledge yet. That's okay. It just means that maybe around them you're an introvert. Maybe you're extrovert around other people, but maybe with them you're an introvert, right? That's okay. That'll work. That'll work too. So yeah, so that's totally, oops, what button did I press? I hope I didn't press anything too bad. Like I'm seeing all these little gears on the machine, and I'm just like, what if I hit one of those? That wouldn't be good. All right. So yay, so that's our 45 energy. So again, what are these energies? How are they helping us to be more in our diva dom? Okay. Are you understanding that as we are using our voices, we are using our breath as well, right? In order for a voice to happen, we need a breath and we need a vowel. That's how we make sound happen. Ah, eh, oh, yeah. If without the vowel, you don't hear the consonant. Saying K without an A, right? Saying T without an E. That's how that works. And not fun, right? We need the vowel just to hear the consonant. Okay, so there's no sound without a vowel. So that's our first understanding of how vibrations happening in our bodies and on our bodies. We can't get a nice, yummy, healing vibration if we're not being clear on our vowels and allowing them to resonate back to the body, right? And the moment. What is important about that? How is it important to amplify our voice, our vision, our message? Right? Is because when we're present in the moment, we feel the energy available for the moment. We feel the energy coming from earth. If we're, again, tapped in using our vocal creatrix work, we're tapping into the energy that's available in our environment immediately. That's separate. And then it's the room and it's the people in the room because we're not separate. We're actually the people on the planet, but in to a lesser degree, right? So it's more the people in the room are going to be the most impactful. You pick up that energy, that vibe, and then you organize it and synergize it for the learning, the education, the healing, the transformation that you're inviting people to in the room. And this room can look like a room, you being on stage. And this room can look like a business, right? A container of learning and growth and service and whatever that is. Like if it's a product, that's that same container, but it's more along the ideals of what that product does for people, right? So that is essentially what we're doing. We're understanding who we are, and that's the work that we're doing based in our purpose key in the Vocal Creatrix course. In the Vocal Creatrix course, we are only focused on the purpose key. Why? Because it's our anchor. Anchors us to the planet. It's our where we get our energy for the now moment. It's going to give us immediacy. It's going to give us right action in this now moment. Okay. It's going to feel like solidness. It's going to feel like confidence. That's how we use the purpose key like that. Okay. Then we have the highs and lows, which are part of our natural cycle. Again, as we do the OMAS method, as we're breathing out, we know that it just takes one release of the tummy to breathe that back in. So we get less panicked. The first few times, like when people do this work and I'm going, okay, we're going to S's, I'm still breathing out. And they're like, what still? And they like take a gasp, right? Because they're like, I'm not going to make it. There's a panic that happens in the body, right? You're just like, your heart starts beating faster, like everything starts beating faster. And then you feel it's so interesting because in those panic moments, especially if I'm nervous and I do this in public, a lot of times the heart will get faster and then but the blood starts going. It's really weird because the heart's already being fast from the first impetus, and then we're initiating the change, and so like parts of the body will slow down, and it's like you're almost in two places for a second. It's like a little disorienting in the beginning, and then you just take a full breath, one, two, three tops, and you can get recentered, refocused, clear again on what it takes. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell a story real quick. So I have this story from when we went to LA. We went to the LA premiere of Anunnaki for Billy Carson's um, what do you call it? Premiere. Yeah. So uh, so Billy Carter's is a big deal to me because he's doing great things. He's doing a lot of work that I want to do, building a platform for conscious leaders, right? It looks a little different. He's more conspiracy theory, forbidden knowledge is what he's called, his network's called. So I'm a little bit more esoteric, a little bit more on the edge of information than I am for sure. But that's why I appreciate the work, because I know how much courage that takes if you have been ridiculed for that stuff before. And he used to have to speak like in behind bushes and stuff with his friends about this stuff because they didn't want the adults to know and get found out, so to speak, right? And so that's one of those things where if you know that you're going to be ridiculed or ostracized or anything along the lines, there's a potential, there's a trigger there, right? And so that he overcame that, that's huge for me. He's been successful financially, he's been successful in building creative work, he's been like including music, he's made music, um, and he's been successful at building this like Amazonian company that he's building now and taking it to market. It's not quite to market yet, but they're on track, right? Which is just amazing to be able to say that and be clear on that and it happen. It's amazing. He just makes things happen. It's the manifestation capability too. Anyways, why I adore him is not the point. The point is, the point is that when I first was trying to, like, I first was over there trying to get my book signed, and I didn't have a VIP ticket, so this is really just a flyby, like if I could catch him before he walks past a certain point type of thing. And I missed him, and somebody else initiated him in a conversation, so I kind of re-trajectorize. Like, this is huge for me because normally I would be against the wall, not, you know, I'm okay. Or I would make Daryl picked that up, called me out on that one. Normally I would make Daryl go do it. Here's the book, make sure he signs it. Like, and if it didn't happen, it's his fault, right? That would be my normal trajectory. But what I know is that, again, this is somebody I appreciate, that I think has the knowledge and understanding to be able to appreciate my work. And I know that ideally that we would know each other, right? So I'm going to keep making the effort in regards to what I want as an intention and manifestation of this event. That's what I wanted. So I kept doing the actions, even though I failed 2 and 3 times. Okay, finally I get there. And finally Dale actually came up and actually helped me because I tried to hand it a few times and still I'm getting kind of the Passover. And then I'm like, I'm breathing, like trying to finish the breath. And I'm like trying to build it, like get back into the energy flow. But my heart starts beating like 20,000 times a minute. And I know I'm spazzing out. How do I know? Like, it gets really bright and light. I'm excited. I'm high energy, but I'm also completely unfocused. It becomes like what some people call a dispersal. Like, it just disperses out. My energy is just going everywhere, flying everywhere. It's not on me, so people aren't seeing me, right? It's not in, like, I'm not holding it and bringing it into my signature vibrational field. And so people are just feeling it in the air, not as coming from me, right? So what that helped me with, especially, first, Daryl got the book signed. Second, it helped me take a slower breath, right? And really re-energized at my chakras. I refocused that. And when so this is so funny because the first time he handed it over, I go like I was actually going to say something. Like, I thought I was going to say something, and that's what came out of my mouth. That's how spastic I was. If y'all ever wonder if I get nervous, like, yes, the answer is absolutely. This is why I know how to do this stuff, because I needed it in order to perform, right? And so, yeah, so my first word is I'm like, thank God it's loud in here, because I don't think you heard that. Like, hopefully that language was not heard in this room. So, and like normally I would just die. I would go in the back of the room and die. Like, that's probably one of my first desired reaction was. And I was like, heck no. I have questions. I didn't get to ask them in the question and answer section because I was in the VIP section. And so I'm going to ask it now. He's right in front of me. I'm not going to ask my question, right? Re-energize, breathe all the way out, force that air out with like passion because I'm like, I'm going to get this out before he moves on, right? Intentional as hell. I had already queued up my question, how I was going to say it, what order I was going to say it. I ended up just shooting out voice resonance, cybernetics, right? I'm just throwing it at him, right? And I'm asking him my question that only he would care about and understand. Maybe some of his viewers, but mostly him, right? And he's like, yes, actually. And I was like, were you able to actually do experiments in there? And I was hoping that I could get a clearer question out. But I'm just excited that he could hear what I'm saying and it's making sense to him in this chaotic environment, right? And so so he's like, yes. I'm like, were you able to record? Yes. Are you able to show that on the movie? Because I know that they restrict a lot of the things that are happening in the pyramids. They don't show everything and not all footage. First of all, most places won't allow you to carry the cameras down there. You have to have certain, I don't know, certification. I don't know. You have to get money thrown out at people. Things have to happen in order for that to be a possibility. So yeah, so he like, has they been able to do all that? He said, like, yes, it's coming up. It's going to be in the series. I was like, great. I'm really looking forward to that. I was able to say it very clearly. I am so proud of myself. I don't know about anybody else. Daryl said he was really, really proud of me too. He was like, I was really proud of you. Like, I did not expect you were really going for it. And normally I would be the one that had to do it for you. And I was like, that's so true. And I'm so excited that it didn't even occur to me to wait for Daryl because Daryl was hanging back, like, wait, like he's over there. Like, I have to get over there. My book is here. He has to be with the book. Like, I'm like pulling out, what do you call it? Like Daryl has taught me about right angles. Oh, y'all, in my head, I'm literally drawing diagrams. Like, if I turn here and I go here, I can cut him off here. Like, that's what's happening in my head in real time. But that's how fast my mind moves in those high energy moments. And so it takes a lot for me to ground that energy and be able to be clear, even now, right? I mean, now I'm more entrained, so I don't have to think about it as much. But again, check up a year ago, my videos. Check 3 years ago, listen to how slowly I spoke. Even again, a year and a half ago compared to now, which is the difference between being able to track my thoughts, being able to track what I'm saying, what the plan is, what I'm doing, like, and all of that with all of the information that comes in as well. Like, I get a lot of intuitive information as well. Discerning between those things, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes awareness, it takes practice, the vocal practice, right? It's called the Omont method. It's good stuff, y'all. I've had some really great comments, and I really want to do better with that because I need to get my recommendations out in front of people so people can see them. I had a lot of great comments from beautiful, beautiful people, right? And it's just been fun to do the work, to see people shift, for people to come out with gigs and speaking possibilities that, again, like, it's not necessarily that my program is developed specifically for speakers or for people who are singing and gigging, right? It's just the result of being clear in our voices and sharing that with the world enough that we're getting a response that's in agreement with the vision that we're holding. That's the work of being a vocal creatrix, right? I just had to tell you all that story because I just thought, I think a lot of people think that, teachers don't have to learn or something. I don't know, but really, this comes from experience. This comes because my dominant emotion before 2019 was anxiety and overwhelm. Those are my dominant emotions. I was barely functioning. I barely had a clear thought. I just had a clear desire when I quit. At the time, I was quitting auditioning and all that kind of stuff, even though I was still getting gigs, but it was weird, right? It was weird. I guess it was I quit, auditioning. People started calling me for gigs. It was weird, right? But that was because my energy shifted about who I knew myself to be, my value, my self value shifted. And so people started seeing me as valuable without me having to work hard. This is energetics, y'all. This is not, and we all think this is just something foo-foo-y in the air, but that's not what's happening. That's not how this really works. So we want to follow the desire and that we're holding, because that's going to give us the energy, the magnetism for the happening, for us finding the right clients, for us finding the right opportunities and mentors, right? When we're holding that desire and being in the truth of, yes, that is actually part of what is meant for me, and being clear on that. That's what we're learning, right? So we're not going out there paying a ton of money for course that we don't use, right? Because we were convinced that it was going to work, but then we forgot, oh, I forgot to say, will it work for me? And that's not, am I capable of making it work? That is it attuned to my energy in a way that's supportive for what I want to do right now, not a year from now. I mean, yeah, you can plan ahead when you're that clear. But if you're not clear about this moment, don't be planning a year out. I'm sorry. That's personal opinion. I don't know. That's probably not confirmed by no way. Most people are going to tell you plan 5, 10 years out, right? I don't agree. Like, if you don't know where you are yet, if you can't keep track of your desires yet, if you can't feel your body yet, if you aren't attuned to your energy yet, like, get that straight. And then start sending out feelers of what your life looks like a year from now, what your life looks like 5 years from now, in the energy of your truth, not in the confusion, right? And fear and avoidance, right? And you know me, I'm never saying to wait on perfection, but it only takes 3 breaths to have a better vibration than when you started. So 3 breaths, get into a better vibration, do some vocal resonance work, and then make a decision, and then make a plan, and then do an action, and then wash the dishes. Okay? I'm not saying you have to wash dishes. It didn't come from me, folks. I don't. I mean, I didn't wash dishes today. Usually I'm in diva mode. I refuse to wash dishes during the event day. But I've been feeling so clear that I could. Like, it was just like, okay, I have extra energy. Why not wash the dishes? Because I get more energy at an event day, right? Anyways, there's a lot of things we can learn about, like how we can cultivate that patience now that we have understanding that it's going to flow. There's going to be an ebb and there's going to be a flow. There's going to be a flub, right? And then there's going to be a focus. It can go both ways, and both are still available to me no matter which one happened first. Okay? And like, just living in that. So yes, I'm looking for, once again, I am looking for our next set of vocal creatrixes who's going to be joining me for this year's live cohort. I am excited because I know it's going to be a great group. I'm excited about who is going to come together around this. Our vocal creatrix course is a 6-week course. It's a day-to-day instruction on what to do for the day. And then we come together once a week to talk about what's going on that week. What did we learn? What did it look like when we put things into practice, right? And it just helps us to begin to track our own energy from that experience of the work, and then modeling, like actually trying to do it in real life, coming back, talking about the results, or what else you want to know, or what isn't happening, or what are the hangups around the cycles and what's happening. So I'm looking for people who want to be a diva, a legend, a priestess, a vocal creatrix with us this year in our vocal creatrix live cohort. It is $197 to join us for the live cohort. And then I have an upgrade version. I have an upgrade, yeah. I have bonuses too. But yeah, check out the website. It's, let me go ahead and put that in the comments. Well, I am thinking about it. It's gonna be fun times. Yeah, yeah. So my upgrade is for us to have 4 private sessions as well. Now, normally my private astrology sessions start at $250, right? But if you do it now during the event and you get the course, well, you don't have to get it separately. So if you get the upgrade, you'll get the 4 sessions to go through your cosmic prosperity path, that flow path personally with just you, and starting to understand that for yourself, and starting to use the whole creatrix technique for that and with that, right? And then we are also doing the live cohort. So you'll also be with us all those 6 weeks for that as well. So that if you have further questions, you'll be there, right? And again, I like to give discounts during my events, right? So that way we can all come together for the courses, for our live cohorts. And then I usually have like people coming trickling in through the year for private sessions. But if you want the big discount, you come during event time. It's event season. I have my Gracious Diva event now towards the summer, and then I'm having my Voicing Your Vision event in November. So if you catch one of those 2 events, those are great times to get great deals on my work, because I do, like I said, I'm charging for the team that I am building for our future. And they are going to be taken care of by me. I'm not paying minimum wage and junk like that. It's not how I want to live. And that's not how I want to support my team. That's not my life, right? So that's why I live at the level that I'm living. And I hope that gives you permission to do the same, because again, like, it's built me a beautiful studio. I have loved my clients. I love the people that have come in and joined me for coursework over the years. And it's been fun to grow with everybody. And I'm glad the people that come in are just my people, man. They're my people. They have beautiful big hearts, beautiful visions, beautiful acts of service. They're not quite speaking their visions fully when they come in, but they start recognizing them and they start working on them, even if it's in the quiet. And that is heroism to me, right? That's that shiro for me, for sure. And so yeah. And then my divas who are just like, they get out there and they do. Yeah, I feel like they're both, the quiet ones and the big ones are both highly effective. Some of us just have different timelines, right? They may have a diva moment, it's just not right now. And so what that timeline looks like for them is perfect. I'm not looking for people to be a specific kind of diva. I'm looking for them to be their full self-expressed of this moment diva. That's what I'm looking for, right? So I love it. I love it. I love it. Again, there's I should have asked that permission before I said that, huh? I totally didn't think about that. Okay, so I will say it again. I'll ask permission first. But yeah, like, if you heard it before, like, there are students that come around and comment, and I will ask them if they'd be willing to talk with you if you have any questions about the course, because they have been through that course. Okay. All right, so that's it for today. Again, if you have questions for me, feel free to put them on this post. Remember, like, we went over 3 keys today. I can't remember them off the top of my head. 23, 34, 45. What was the last one? I don't know. But let me go look at my notes real quick so that you know. What I want you to do is look at that in your chart, see if they're coming up, see if you have the full channel there, if it's cut off or you have one side of the channel there on the human design. If it's in a gene key chart, what sphere is it in? That's what I want you to know, okay? Because I want you to know kind of how you perceive those qualities. Some of us are only perceiving that as other people, and so we're judging that when we see others because we don't identify with it at all. And it's coming up, it's showing up, and restricting ourselves in our visibility. So I was listening to Robert E. Grant on an interview, And he was saying usually however we're judging somebody else is something we have not accepted within ourselves. And it was so profound because it's really the reason why I call this event a work, a name to the diva, and right, whatever came before it had to include diva, because there's a controversy about what diva means in our society, if that's a bad thing, if that's a good thing. And I think it's a good thing. Any woman with sharing their full voice in a way that is being heard, I think it's a good thing. Now, can we be better people? Maybe we can be better. and and I think just the courage and the strength it takes to stand up and speak your vision and speak your voice and speak your truth and sing your art and share your desired beauty, right? All of that takes such strength. Like, who are we to criticize what we have not yet experienced, right? That is what my kind of thing is there. And then if we are in judgment of that in others, being too loud, being too opinionated. Like, if we cringe because somebody else is sharing their truth or voice or their question, and it may seem like too much to you, right? Anytime we're labeling something as too much, to anything, too quiet, too loud, too much, it's a judgment. And we're restricting ourselves as a result. And I think that's just a profound teaching. I'm going to leave y'all with that. I want y'all to sit with that. Okay. I want you to sit with the keys we went over today to see how much are we judging these characteristics. And then I want you to see how much maybe it can be a good thing. And it is a good thing when we are in awareness around it, in integrity, in love. Because, as long as we're in love and light, like, the rest will fall into place. If our intention is love, light, service, then things will fall into place. You don't have to restrict yourself. You don't have to be quieter or less emotional or more passionate or less passionate. Like, you don't have to conform to whatever these ideas are. You can be yourself fully, as much as you want to be of yourself. Right? So when we get a little extra, you're getting a little extra, but it's okay. You can be extra. That's okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure I said today. And I will see you tomorrow. So what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is, we're going to look at the keys that are going to be about where procrastination or fear is like triggering us before we even know it. And so we get into our shadow really quickly in that area, and we don't do the things that we mean to do or desire to do, or are along our path and purpose, right? When we get stuck in those areas. So that's what we'll talk about tomorrow. How do we get started building our legacy? Because first we have to understand why we're not doing it now, right? We talked about a lot of those things today, and we're going to talk about more specific, like what the actual energetics of the physics of the body, maybe not physics, but energetics of the body are around procrastination, fear, and not moving in that pattern of procrastination. Okay. So I will see you then, and ta-ta for now.